Hi and welcome, I'm Lauro Miller and I make videos about programming. Today's video is the third one in our mini-series about strings, and we will talk today about two specific methods, the match method and the search method. And I decided to make a video for these two because they work with regular expressions, so it's a little bit more complicated to discuss them. Don't worry if you're not familiar with regular expressions, I will try my best to explain each of the concepts as we progress through the video. If you want to study more about regular expressions, I'll put a link in the description of this video. It's an online training that you can do by yourself, and it really covers all the basics of working with regular expressions. With that said, let's switch Notion and let's start talking about the match and the search methods. Well, there's really not much more to discuss here because I already said everything in the introduction. So we are going to focus on discussing the match method and the search method. And as you can see here, both receive a string or a parameter here that I called str. You can call it whatever you want, but it is either a regular expression or a string that is then used behind the scenes to build a new regular expression. Let's create a new file here, and I'm going to call this one match.js. So we're going to cover the match method for now, and let's start with a simple string, like so, simple str, and we're going to call this ABC, AAB, let's say major, capital letter C, and then D again. Now, if we were to simply check simple str.match, for example, and we pass a string here, let's say Z, we're going to save this and try to run this file. So let's switch to the terminal and try to run this with node match.js. And of course, nothing happens because I forgot to put the console.log statement, right? So console.log, and once I save this and I run again, then I get null as a result. So null is the result if no match was possible, right? Now, if I pass an A, for example, and I'm going to save this, once I run and execute this, you see that there are quite a few different pieces of information here. The first one is the actual match. The second one is the index of that match. The third one is the input, right? So the string that was provided. And the last one is an object containing all the groups, meaning all the named capturing groups that were passed to a regex. I know this sounds completely foreign to you, maybe it makes no sense whatsoever. I'll try to explain each of these elements in details in this video. Of course, we're not going to go into full regex mode here. We're not going to explore all the concepts related to regular expressions, but at least so that you know how we can actually produce an output in each of these elements. Okay, so the first one is, well, let's try maybe with a different group here with a capital or uppercase letter C. If I save this and run again, then you will see that the index is going to change, right? So the index is now position 6. We start at 0, so C is the 7th letter, which means it is in position is index C. Now here is the match again, and as you can see, the groups here is also undefined. Now let's switch to actually a regular expression. So if we have something like this, we don't have now a string, we actually have a regular expression, which is going to try to match for letter C. Once I save this and run again, I get the exact same result. Now let's say that I'm not looking for a match of letter C, but I'm looking for a match of any letter that happens at least once and then is followed by a letter C, right? So if I save this and I run, then you will see that it matches the whole string here that up to letter C, right? So plus indicates that any character, so just to go a little bit in detail, dot here represents any character, plus indicates that the character has to happen one or more times and that it has to end in the letter capital C or the uppercase C. As you can see, the group here doesn't go until the very end, it goes until letter C. If instead of having multiple characters before letter C, if I want to allow only for one character, I can remove that plus, and the dot here is going to match any character that we have before an uppercase letter C. So if I save this, come back here, and I run again, now you will see that we have B and C here, and the index starts at position 5, right? So how do we actually, well, how can we actually go in and go a little bit further with this matching method? And we can, for example, define a capturing group. So capturing groups in regex, they are simply, we use these brackets here to indicate that they should be extracted from the match, right? If I save this, this is going to change a little bit the output. Now you see that we have a second element here, or in position 1, but we have a second element in the array, which is that capturing group, right? So it is the case that now we are also extracting from the regular expression the matching or the capturing group that we specified here. Now, of course, if you are not familiar with regex, then this will sound perhaps a bit too advanced, and you don't need to get familiar with everything that we are discussing here. I just want to show you how the match method can actually vary, how it can have multiple results based on what we are actually passing as the regular expression. Now, if we want to have a named group, then we can actually start one like this, and we will say extracted, like so, or any name, right? So this could be something like this, named, for example. And then if I save this and run again, then you will see that it's gonna pop up here in the end, right? So the groups before were undefined, but now we have a named group, and this named group contains an object with the key, with the property that we specified here. If I say that this is my name, for example, I can do the same. Once I run this, I get my name, and my name is going to be letter B, right? Then this is simply, we are giving a name to this capturing group here, to the characters that match this capturing group. If we change it back to what we had before, allowing for one or more characters before C, then you see that the results are going to change. We will get the previous capturing group here at the top. I think I can scroll up a little bit. We had this one, right? So with ABC, AA, BC, and then here at the bottom, you will see that it extracts up to, but not including the C, and that's because we are saying, okay, extract every character that matches this, but do not include the letter C. If we wanted to include letter C, we should do something like this. And if I save this, then you will see that the C, the uppercase letter C, is going to be included in the match as well. Now, this is if the regex is not flagged as global, right? So if the regex is not flagged as global, then we can have such an output. However, if we flag the regex as global, and I will just simplify things a little bit here, and let's say we want to match the AB group, right? So let's see what happens if we run this without the regex being global. So we have two ABs. We have AB here, and we also have AB here, right? Let's save this. Let's perhaps clear the console just for clarity, and we'll run again node match.js. If we run this, you see that it matches only the first group, the one at index 0. Even though we have a second one here, right? So if we were to, for example, say, okay, extract this, let's see what this is going to happen, or what this is going to do. And this is going to simply also extract from the first match. Now, if we mark this as global, something like this, right? So this is how we flag a regex as global, and we save this, then we are not going to get this more complex array. We'll simply get an array which contains all the matches in the string that was provided. Now you see we have AB here, and we also have AB here. So we have two matches. Now, if we have something like this, for example, that we have only the second part here, the second substring that actually matches this, and I save this, let me see, yes, and I run it again, then we have only the last match, right? You see that now we lose a lot of information about the index, about the input, and about the groups. If we were to actually try to extract something, let's say that let's run without being global. If I save like this, then we are able to extract, we're able to capture the group AB. But if we run with the global flag, then this is not going to be included. The global flag simply returns the match as is from the regular expression. So let's mark the first one, the dot match, as completed. Let's create a new file to explore the dot search. New file, search.js, and we're going to use the same string. Okay, I'm just going to copy this one from here and paste it here. Now, if you understood, or at least made a bit of sense about what we discussed in the match part, then this one is actually going to be a little bit less complicated. So let's try to do a few searches here. We will start with some letter that is not present on the string. It's going to be letter Z or character Z. If I save this, let's go back to the terminal, clear everything. Oops. Clear everything, and then we say node search.js, and then it outputs -1. So you see, before with the match, it output null, or it outputs null if we have no match, but with the search method, it's going to output -1, okay? And then if there is a match here, so for example, I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna run it again, it's gonna output the index of the first match. If I pass the global flag, it doesn't matter, okay? It still outputs the index of the first match of this method search. Now, don't get confused between when I use match here, I'm simply saying behind the scenes, right? What the search does is gonna search for this regular expression. It's gonna return the index of the first substring that satisfies it. So if I were to say a.c, for example, then it's going to say, okay, get any character A, which is then followed by any character and then followed by the capital letter C or the uppercase letter C, which is this part here, right? So this is going to be at index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So once I save this and I run, then I get a result of 4. And as you can see, the global here doesn't impact anything, and it is the same for capturing groups. If I add a capturing group here and I save this, it also does not impact the result. Now here I also want to bring to your attention that the match or the search, it can return, sorry, not the match, but the search one, it can return an index of 0, right? So if we were looking again here, let's look at the console, the first few runs that we had, we output an index of 0. So if we have something like this index result, for example, and we're going to say simple string dot search a, and then any character, and then the lowercase letter C, then we're gonna get as a result the index 0 because A is at the very first position here. And if we were to add this to an if statement, like so, and we'll say console.log regular expression found, right? Else console.log regular expression not found. And this is going to output the second part because the index that is returned here is actually 0, and 0 is falsy in JavaScript. So this if statement is going to evaluate to false. The body here or the statements are not going to be executed, and the else body or the else block is going to be executed. So let's save this. Let's see the result. And as you can see, we have regular expression not found, right? So be careful here because here we need to actually adopt the is strictly different than -1. And once we save this, then we will get the correct result. Pretty cool. As you can see, depending on the regular expression that the match method receives, there is a variety of results that we can obtain, and it's important that we are familiar with all of them. In the next and last video of this strings mini-series, we'll talk about template literals and tag templates. If you don't want to miss it, make sure to subscribe to the channel, of course, and you will get a notification when the video is out. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.